Who doesn't love coffee, right?
Right here, brother.
I mean, I call it the other liquid, you know?
Yeah, man.
Homeschoolers, how are you? This is important. I got my main man here, Greggy Voros. You guys have seen him before. You know him. You know how much I love this cat. My Mount Rushmore of homies, man, for sure.
Yeah.
We got so much shit to talk about. This is a special episode.
Special episode.
In a lot of ways, man.
For sure.
We got so much shit to talk about. We haven't planned what order we're going to talk about it in. I'm kind of just going to let the waves take over, like
yeah,
I like to.
I get that. Well, I'll tell you what. While I have this, I'm holding this. Let's show this off.
Cool.
Before this goes out to our buddy Rex Brown from the newly reunited Pantera. I wanted to show this off on Homeschooling, and I know Rex is watching too. He wanted an American painted horse on his Spectre that he's had for a million years. And that's it. He's got his pony, man. So this will go out, and they're going to get started in South America here pretty soon.
Pantera
is doing it, man.
Reunited. See, it's funny because, like, you know, remember when I don't know how long ago it was. We're standing outside, me and him were talking, and I said, you know that? Are you into Pantera? He's like, dude,
Oh yeah, dude.
See, like, and I guess because that guy Rex Brown, the original bass player, you know, he watched the show and we chat back and forth, and he was like, he couldn't believe that. He's like, no, you don't know. He couldn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's cool. I know the guy, and so I called him up there.
Yeah, that's right. And then he goes,
and then these guys became like best friends.
Yeah, Rex
like
is cool, man.
you guys talk all the time. So
Rex is cool.
They're about to just kick some major ass. Right?
Oh, they're gonna be hitting it hard. I mean, when you got him, you know, when he got on the horn there, like X amount of months ago, he goes, Old World, what are you doing the next 2.5 years?
Old World, that's his name.
And I was like, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long they're looking to tour for, but they're gonna be busy a long time.
Dude.
And they're sounding amazing.
Yeah, he sent me a video of this.
You got
He said, can't share it, but amazing stage set they got going.
Sorry. Yeah, he's I mean, amazing. Zach Wild sounds great. It's awesome.
He wanted his bass like a painted horse?
Like a painted horse. I guess, I don't know, maybe the Cowboys from Hell or whatever, or maybe he's just a huge horse guy. But either way, it came out beautiful.
Man, who did the work?
Tony Nagy did the work. He's my number one. He's my shop foreman upstairs, and Tony's incredible. I mean, you know Tony. Tony's great. He's my number one for a reason. So anytime I have something as a rush job like this, you know, we'll put our heads together. But he's the one doing 98% of the work. Tony Nagy. He's amazing. Yeah. But this is awesome. This goes out here shortly.
Man, Rex, you're in for it, man. Ride the pony.
That's right. Ride the pony. I hope he names it Pony Boy, like Pony Boy Curtis. You know what I mean?
What's it been like here at Grooms lately? What's
crazy.
Happening? What's crazy? What's going on?
It's crazy. It's busy. Everything is so busy, man. Like, everything changed after COVID. You know, everything changed after COVID. We restructured Grooms in a serious way, and as a result, we've been just killing it ever since. And
man, it blows my mind. I remember when COVID first started, I thought, well, there goes the fucking vintage guitar world.
No way, man.
And it was the exact opposite.
The exact opposite, yeah.
I mean, I still to this day it puzzles me how that happened. Like, how did all of a sudden, at the beginning of COVID, did everybody have all this money to buy all these fucking high-dollar vintage guitars? How did this happen?
I don't know. I think we talk about this all the time. I don't know. I think COVID made a lot of people realize certain things, and there was like a great realization of many things. Maybe that they can treat themselves to something. Yeah. Especially when they see maybe people dying around them or globally or whatever, and they say, you know what? I've always wanted this Martin guitar. Why don't I just pull the trigger on it? Maybe, I don't know.
Some of us. I've heard some people say they even found their calling in life by changing
professions.
Yeah. You know, some people started YouTube channels.
Yeah, because that's all you're doing.
That's all I do. I don't even play anymore.
Yeah. That's, you know, let me touch on that for a second.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that really get me about YouTubers and kind of YouTube shows. Yeah. I've always said that in order for you to have a show, you should be the dude independent of having a show. Like, you should have gotten all your accolades before you actually opened the door to videos. So you come from a place to actually do videos. Why am I on the camera? Because of my body of work for the last 30 years.
Right.
You did that in the perfect order. And what I think is awesome, you're still doing videos.
Yeah.
But what fucking videos didn't take over?
Yeah.
You're still banging.
Oh, yeah.
You're still banging away just as heavy as you were
yeah.
before, except now you got videos. Well, that's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Some dudes that I think do some of these shows that aren't, meaning they got popular because of their videos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a little different. This is
I hear
real.
you.
This is the real
You can
deal.
always tell when certain YouTubers just really all they do all day is try to think of content. I just like to take people along for the ride of what I was doing anyway.
That's right.
Because if I was just sitting around thinking about YouTube videos all day, I'd be bummed out.
And it wouldn't have an organic feel.
No.
Like one of the things that's great is we talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
It's like, dude, I'll be around 3 or whatever it might be. I'm like, all right, cool. And it's like, the order. There's no fucking order. Like we'll chat about Rex's bass a little bit because it's cool.
Right.
I got some shit to chat about. If it goes naturally, we'll talk. If
Totally.
it doesn't, but it's all organic. If it's not organic, I don't want any of it.
That's a fucking fact, man. We have been talking about. I think it's a good idea. I'm really loving the idea of. See, right. It's funny because right before the homeschooling thing even started, or Corona lessons, whatever you call it, there was a couple month period there where you and I were talking a lot about doing videos for Groons.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like really excited. I remember going home and telling Sarah one time, going, Groons wants me to do like videos where I show off the like monthly videos where I show off the guitars or whatever, and that whole thought at that time was very exotic, intoxicating maybe, because I'd never done anything like that before. And I remember we were scheming that, and then the pandemic, and then the fucking quarantine, and then I was stuck in the house and nothing to do, and I just started doing the guitar lesson videos, and then like that kind of eclipsed all the things we were gonna do. But now I'm excited to say that if it's cool with everybody else, we're gonna start doing a monthly video for Groons where, we got a couple cool ideas. Like we could do things like I could grab my 3 or 4 favorite guitars in the shop, and like plunk on them for a minute, show you some cool guitars, and then you'd at least know that if you went called up and bought it, it would be Uncle Larry approved, if that mattered to you.
Sure,
right?
I would have,
And so that kind of thing, and we got so much shit to talk about.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
All right.
So if you want, let's pick it back up after COVID,
Yeah,
and then I'll segue into some of the things, because in order, like this venture I got into, I really wanted to make mention of this to folks, but there's a little explanation that goes behind it, and there's a little bit of this is actually me talking about this for the first time, and just because I haven't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what happened in 2020, some crazy things happened in the beginning of 2020. Groon Guitars was getting ready for the pandemic and whatever laws were put in place with regards to people coming to work. And one of the things that we did in early 2020 was we temporarily let go of everyone that works here, minus myself, the company president, Eric Newell, and the sales manager, Rob Ruff. And it was 3 of us left. And for 4 months, I was the repair shop, finishing up everyone's projects and consignments, releases. I had everything cooking. I was banging 25, 30 grand in repairs a month, which is unheard of.
I remember that. Yeah.
And everything was great. And all while that was happening, we were able to sell instruments, and business was actually pretty good. We had Friday releases. I was making moves, selling tons of guitars.
Totally.
And what wound up happening is we learned so much about what it takes to drive this business and how to make it work. So there was a reformation in that way, and everyone came back. Everyone was hired one by one, and there was a much better way to architect this entire operation. So when we did that and we put everything in place, then we saw record sales quarter after quarter because it works.
Right.
One of the things that I always wanted to tell people, because people don't think about these things, right? So when you go to buy a guitar from a box store, a local store, whatever it might be, you can rest assured that most salespeople work on commission. One of the things I always tell people is the salesman at Groons, there's no employee here that works on commission, which is what makes it awesome. you know, it's like you buy an instrument because you want it. We'll do our best job in describing the instrument and representing it. But at the end of the day, if you don't want it, that's cool too.
Right.
You know, it'll sell it somewhere else, and we create relationships in that way.
Yeah.
Gruen Guitars is super unique in the industry, is because Gruen Guitars is the only company I've ever heard of that offers and provides a tremendous amount of the health insurance,
Right.
a 401k, HSA plan ready to go with loaded money for copays, quarterly profit sharing bonuses that are pretty nice.
Yeah.
These are all things that we do in-house to take care of all the employees,
Yeah.
the staff, the team,
Yeah.
and we you know, it makes sense as to why we don't have turnover.
Right.
We have zero turnover.
Right.
People love what they do here, so they want to hang out, and that's the
Me too.
headspace. Right? That's like
too.
everyone here is cool. You're
Me too.
welcome. Everyone
Yeah.
you can hang with. It's a good time.
Dude.
That's why we're successful.
Oh, dude.
You know, is that's the reason. But that's what happened in 2020, and we're banging super hard. For about 5 months, I hired back Tony, and that's when I made him my number one, and so on and so forth. And then in August, or August 26th, August 18th, my father passed away, and that was huge. It was a huge. I mean, it was just the worst thing ever. I remember when that, you know, it was just awful. My pop was 62 years old. He's a real man's man of a person, you know, and he was the patriarch, you know, in the family. Well, when he passed away, it was terrible. Everything was terrible, but I didn't know what was about to unfold after that. And what wound up happening is, after I buried my father, a week into it, my face and my lips and my hands started going numb. And then by the time my chest got it, my arm going down into my leg, I went to the emergency room. My wife told me that, you know, she thought I was having a stroke or something like that.
You're 39 years old.
39, yeah.
Right.
And I was diagnosed as having multiple sclerosis and having a pretty aggressive kind of MS with regards to how many brain and spine lesions I have. So I was diagnosed in literally under 2 hours, and that's unheard of in my world.
Unbelievable.
People would tell me, like, you got diagnosed in 2 hours, and I said, yeah. And they'd be like, it took 3 months for them to find my diagnosis. And no one ever believes me when I tell them 2 hours. Well, the reason being is I have a record-setting number of lesions in my brain and spine. I have 36 in my brain and something like 14 on my spine, which is, these numbers are crazy. I mean, you could literally be paralyzed with 7, you know. So,
Dude, I remember, I'll never forget that text when you were like, balls, man. Some shit news came in. And I thought it was like about a guitar or something. And then when you told me that, dude, I can't, because you're like the picture of fucking health, man. I mean, perfectly fit former boxer. It's like, you know, because he had said that he had some numbness and stuff, and I just thought it was probably just some old boxing injury, right? That's probably what you thought too.
yeah, listen, man, anytime you do sports, anytime you're doing sports at that
Right.
level, everything hurts, man. Everything kind of sucks always, you know.
Totally.
So you get
Yeah.
used to certain things, and I always say, when you're Eastern Bloc European,
Like, yeah,
you work so much that everything hurts.
right,
It's, you know, it's just keep going. You'll be all right.
yeah.
You know,
Dude.
and you never realize, like, numb feet or my face. I just never realized that working, you know, 2 jobs, you know, here and then at home banging on all guitars, I never really paid attention to myself.
Yeah.
You know, so I found this out, and then that immediately came with 4 months of me being bedridden.
Right.
3 months, and I couldn't get up. MS is pretty hardcore. You know, it has a great impact not only on, you know, I walk with a cane. You not only limp, but it's also internal with regards to bladder and psychological, emotional. It takes over your brain, and it gives new meaning to, like, being determined and being hard, you know, because you can't naturally do it, so you have to take medication. Your brain kind of gives up on you in that way. And
But I told him a million times, man, the biggest inspiration. I mean, the way he's handling this shit, it just blows my fucking mind, dude. You were such a fucking animal, dude. I mean, it's just amazing.
I got my moments, you know what I mean?
amazing.
I got my moments, but so that's happening, and then immediately thereafter, I cut back my hours because I can't physically work 5 or 6 days a week. And from Gruen's, fortunately, I'm senior management, so I can stay busy 3 days a week and really do a great job. And I always had kind of these side things that I did, like Jim Irsay.
Right.
I did Thomas Tull. You know, he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Ghost Hounds band. Love those guys. And I just couldn't do it anymore. It was a little too demanding. And the last one that I got out of was the Irsay gig.
Right.
So I'll lead that up, and that's where it's going to kind of take off.
Right.
Here.
He was guitar teching for us on the Jimmy Irsay gigs that we do, you know, around the country, you know,
And,
with Ebo.
with
Both,
Ebo, yeah.
With the two, yeah.
Jim Irsay, you know, owns the Indianapolis Colts, and the dude is an amazing person, man. He really is an amazing person. So, the Acoustic Coffee Company came at me about 6 months ago, and they said, "Hey, Greg, we want to do something with Grunes and you with regards to something with our coffee."
Right.
And I told my buddy Rich at the coffee company, I was like, "Dude, I got nothing for you, bro." I was like, let me think on this. I'm not a big fan of just putting my name on some stuff. I never did that before. I did instructional things, and I'm good with that, but never product.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not doing that. And we kept talking, and then he said, "Hey, I got a meeting in Nashville. You mind if I come down and chat with you?" I said, "Sure." So he came down, and we had a chat, and he says, "A lot of what we're doing is working with nonprofits."
Right.
And he says, "If that's something that's of interest to you, then we might have something." So I said, "All right." I remember I gave it a couple days, and I was thinking on it. And I called up Rich, and I said, "Check it out, man. Here's what I want to do." I said, "Let's do this, man. I'm going to have my own coffee blend. We'll call it the Greg Voros something or something blend. And what we'll do is $1 of every bag goes to the nonprofit of my choosing. Gruen Guitars and myself stay completely out of it with regards to any profit whatsoever. So the only way this will be done is if we do it my way." And he's like, "All right, what are you thinking?" And I said, "Check it out. Here's what I'm thinking. And we'll start a nonprofit. I'm not going to start a nonprofit. I want to get going with an existing nonprofit. I just haven't picked one yet, whether it be the MS Society or Vanderbilt. I'm not sure."
Right.
So he said, "The idea is great, and whatever you want to do, let's run with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do is cool."
Cool.
So I said, "All right." So based on that, I haven't even started tasting my blends yet.
Right.
So I said, "Cool. Well, now I know that there's people that have been wanting to support me for a long time. Right. I know where they can help. I know where they can support."
Yes.
I'm going to put a pause right here for a second.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When I was first diagnosed, man, people in Nashville, or just dudes in general in our circle, the nicest people, man, ever.
Totally.
Ever. I mean, I spent nights crying thinking about how beautiful people are and how much they want to help.
Yes.
And I remember John Bollinger said it to me first, and I kicked him out of bed real fast.
Yeah.
And then you made mention of it too.
Yeah.
And I remember Bollinger said, "Hey man, I'm thinking of benefit." And maybe people were thinking that because I was bedridden or whatever it might be. I'm thinking about benefit. And I told Bollinger, I said, no fucking way, bro. I said, "No, I'm not doing that." I told John at the time, I was like, "Listen, brother, the musicians in Nashville are so good. You're going to get 100 Nashville musicians to come down and help me out financially, monetarily. I'm doing better than all of them."
Right.
Okay. I said, "I don't have a face to take anything from any of those guys.
Right.
To have a benefit for me, I worked my ass off for 20 some odd years. I'm okay, man.
Right.
You know, and I take pride in that."
Right.
So I don't. I remember you called me with the same thing, and I remember I called you back, and I'm like, "Boogie, no fucking way. You kill that shit dead right now because you know I can't show up like that.
Right.
That's not what I'm doing.
That's your style.
No. Plus, like I said, you know, I've worked so much. I don't have it great, but I got good enough.
Damn right.
You know,
Beautiful
whatever
family,
I have. Yeah,
great
beautiful family. My wife. Every dollar I have, I made with my hands, man.
Damn right.
I want to keep that. I want to retain that shit while I get worse, or if I get worse, but at least I'll have that. You know.
Fact.
So I said, no, that I'm not doing. However, I do want to get involved. So unpause. Let's get back to the Irsay part, right?
Yeah.
So I said, all right, cool. So I started talking with folks at the MS Society and all these other places, and then I realized that all I'd be really doing is getting whatever sums of money is donated with coffee and some private donations, and really just goes into a pool. And I said, well, I don't like that because I have no controlling anything over that.
Right.
So ultimately, all roads led me to the Vanderbilt MS Research Clinic, which is actually my clinic that I go to for my monthly infusions.
Right.
And that turned into my own program, my own board at Vanderbilt.
Amazing.
And it's called the the Voros Innovation and Impact Fund.
Yes.
And it's an arm of Vanderbilt Medical Center. I mean, this is real deal. And I have my own board of folks. And every dollar that comes in, I have control over where it goes and what programs it's doing.
Right.
So all of this kind of happens so fast, but now that it's on, we're good. Okay, well, behind the scenes, before this coffee even came out, Mr. Irsay and the Indianapolis Colts stepped up with $250,000.
Yeah.
And for that, I'll always be super grateful. And that's straight.
Right.
That's straight. So now that gave the Innovation and Impact Fund money to start with. So immediately we subdivided that $200,000 into 3 different avenues of help.
Right.
And it's a transportation service for folks with MS that can't get infusions, can't go. Nursing, and I'm really shooting for food for Christmas.
Right.
And there's little bits here and there to figure out before we get there with gift cards and so on and so forth. But we're making some dynamite moves here. And I never thought that my work would be in the nonprofit world, like a philanthropist. I never thought you could be a middle-class philanthropist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't, bro. I didn't think you can have a handful of grand in your checking account and be a philanthropist, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
But it's super important, and this is so transparent. It's not even funny. That's why I tell folks, it's direct, you know. And I have metrics where I know where it goes to help. But this is it right here, folks.
Yes.
Bang.
Yes.
It's called the Greg Voros Legends Blend.
Yes.
And I'm super proud of it. And the guys at Acoustic Coffee Company have really worked with me to get a perfect blend together. I'm actually really proud of the coffee too. It's really good.
I still have yet to try it, but I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
And
what is this shit? Ready?
I don't know what this garbage is. No, the coffee's dynamite. And
Oh man.
the coffee's dynamite. And I picked all my blends, and I really took this seriously when I went into it. And I really took it seriously when I went into it. And I told the guys, man, I said, make me a coffee that's like an Italian table wine.
Fuck yeah.
Where it's medium and goes with everything.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
be something more than what it is. And I want it to be all consuming.
Well, the first thing you said was you wanted some strong ass cowboy coffee. You remember that?
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Couldn't do it because
yeah.
I don't know what folks are into, you know, and I don't want to make it so it's not consumable.
I mean, if it was up to you, you would drink the fucking nitrous coffee.
I drink so much coffee. This is probably what I like.
Right.
You know, I honestly, I drink so much of it. I just need it to be not weak.
Yeah, right.
You know, but it's constant for me. You know, so I dig it. And
Awesome, man.
yeah, so we're doing real good work here, and everything is awesome. If you guys check it out and you guys order, if you put in the promo code VOROS with all capital letters, there's a promo running for like 50% off, or you get an extra bag with everything you order. Either way, I don't know about the promo things. All I know is this: is the Acoustic Coffee Company is obviously a for-profit company that's donating some of their proceeds to the fund. Okay.
Right.
All I know is this: is that that company is phenomenal, and I love working with the 2 heads over there. And one of the biggest reasons I love working with those guys is they're great. They're great to work with, but they understand what's most important to me.
Yeah.
And the reality is that coffee is dynamite.
Yes.
However, there's a big however there
Right.
in terms of what I really do. Like having my name on a bag of coffee is great.
Right.
Okay. What's happening
Right.
as a result of that and what I'm doing to kind of get that out there. Well, I'm seeing everything behind the scenes. So when it comes time for me to say, all right, let's put X amount of money towards meal plans for the holidays or whatever it might be, I'm looking at a budget here. That's 1-to-1,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and I work with what I can,
It's awesome.
you know,
man.
and I'm going to try and do what I can. But the most important thing that I tell folks is that not profit, this is nothing, not me, or this is my promise, facts.
Right.
Not myself or Green Guitars will make a penny on any
Right.
of this.
That's
a
what he
fact.
said a million times.
It's
It's
a
like
fact.
he wants like, I mean, it amazes me, man. Like it's like, you know, this is such a, a fucking straight up, real thing that you're doing, man. It's just like, I just love it, dude. It fits your personality, fits your fucking style.
I love it.
Dude,
this is
awesome,
this is feel goods, you know. And I always tell folks, like,
Yeah, dude.
I tell folks just like this, and it's a real easy pitch. It feels so good,
Yeah,
you know. If you want some, you should get some on you, because it's good, man. It's like one of those things where I never thought not making money would feel so good.
Are you? Dude, I feel that, man.
Like nothing.
Jeez,
Like I
yeah.
never thought like
Yeah.
actually not scoring
Yeah, man.
in that way
Yeah,
could feel
because-
so good.
Yeah, man. How you're helping so many people. Are you still? I mean, I remember we did talk a little while ago, and I know you probably got too much going on right now to even think about this, but you were saying a while back that you were going to do a thing where you had made yourself available on website where you could chat with people. You know, about are you thinking about doing that?
Yeah, I am. Now I don't know how that's gonna work out,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm more of a like the reason this came about. Let me come back to that.
Yeah.
The reason this came about is when I was laying in my bed for like 3 months,
Right.
and literally as a master repair guy or whatever, you know, I get called. The most I could do is unload a dishwasher,
Right.
and that'll mess with you, man.
Oh, dude.
That'll mess with you. And for like 3 months I did that. And I remember it was a roller coaster of emotions trying to get through all this. But I remember telling myself, being a healthy middle class fella, I said to myself, or I told my wife, I said, babe, you know what's really amazing is that at least we don't have to worry about our mortgage for X amount of months, or at least we don't have to worry about the things that car bills or whatever it might be that most people have as an issue. At least we don't have to worry about it for 6 months to a year or whatever. Right? Well, that for me was tremendous to know
Right.
that I can lay there and get better, suffer and get better, but when I come out, I might be all right again.
Right.
Okay. I was telling Joe, I can't imagine those people that have the added burden of not being able to provide for their families, and then to have something like that happen, especially, I mean, with respect to males and females, but if you're a male and you're head of the house, there's things that come with that. And when something like this takes you out, it really takes a striking against your manhood as well.
Yeah.
And so I have all these things in mind. So I've also decided with the nonprofit, there's so much money already put into finding future cures, you know, none of which actually has anything to do with me or many people in my shoes. That's why it's Innovation and Impact Fund. The impact is direct to Nashville people.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm doing, this goes back to the conversations,
Yes.
is because I don't know the plight. I'm not arrogant enough to think I understand the plight of a dude that gets by on like 18 grand a year.
Right.
When infusions are $9 grand a year.
Right.
I don't know that plight. I haven't known that for 20 years.
Right.
You know. So I'm not going to be as bold as to say, here's what people with MS need, just because I have it.
Right.
Well, I'm in a different place.
Right.
So I spend a lot of time talking with folks that are from different walks of life and tell me what kind of issues they have and what's a big deal to them, you know, and that's important to me. That's important to me, so that when I have a person tell me, well, this is the thing I have the biggest problem with,
Sure.
I can actually say, got it.
Right.
Let me see what I can do about that.
Totally.
Right here. Let me see what I can do about directly.
Yeah.
You know, and I try to. So right now it's the beginning phases of it. There's a bunch of money there. Meaning at the nonprofit, Vanderbilt has grant writers, and you know, in that program, so it should be getting going soon. But the coffee is what's consistent, and those coffee sales keep these programs sustainable. That's why I got behind it, and I said, this is a great product, and I'm for it, man.
Love it, dude.
You know.
Absolutely love it.
You know, so I'm trying to outfit certain clinics. My infusion clinic, I set those guys up so that everyone there has coffee. Different hospitals, different wings at Vanderbilt, I'm sending coffee to. Really, the people in the medical world I want to get taken care of if they want to give it to their people, and that's cool, but just to get on the same page.
Dude, how are you doing so good right now? I mean, how do you attribute, like, the fucking, it's amazing, dude. I mean,
The infusions.
yes.
Yeah, the infusions, I mean, I get monthly infusions. They attack my type of MS really hard. And I get it every month. And if I don't get it, I feel it. So But MS is really tricky. You know, you've seen me look pretty good, and you've seen me kind of hobble around like a mutant. You know, and it's one of those things. It's you know, going up the stairs. You know, you might look this way, and 10 minutes later, you might look a lot better. It's one of those things. It's an everyday kind of struggle. It doesn't. You don't get better. You just get better for a minute.
Right.
You know. So how do you? I don't know how you do it. You just got to do it, man.
Man.
You do. I have a family. I'm actually a pretty optimistic guy. You know, man. Beautiful family. I got my daughter, my wife. I got the best friends in the world, the best job. You know, and I'll go back to this too. You know, like with regards to the benefit.
Right.
You know, that we made mention of. I really want to make mention of this. Is that Eric Newell is the company president here at Gruen Guitars. George Gruen is obviously the owner of the joint.
Right.
But I'll tell you, man, George and Eric, for almost 20 years, have taken care of me so incredibly well that it would almost look bad on them as well if I ever accepted anything by way of
Right.
benefit or anything
Totally.
like that.
Right.
Why? Because I'm not that person, because they take care of me.
Right. Right.
And they've took care of me for a long time. I remember when I was bedridden for months,
Right.
and I wanted to get back to work, and I was just like, oh man, Eric. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, no man, what do you need? What do you need? You need some money, you need this, you need that, whatever you might need.
No, you give me.
And that it's a lot of what I'm saying is a lot of folks don't have access to that. They don't have means and resources or whatever it might be.
Right.
And I think about that is I got it so good. I got it so good, bro. Imagine the people that don't. Imagine how dark their world is, man.
Oh, dude.
And I can't imagine. So I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna try to help those dudes out, and that's my crew. That's MS dudes. I never thought that would be my crew,
Fucking awesome.
but that's my army right there, and I'm gonna try and make some moves for those cats.
Man, this guy, one of the things that amazes me about him is, you don't have to go into this if you don't want to, but I know some unique people in this world. Been fortunate enough to be around some brilliant people. Would you mind talking about like your, just absolutely amazing childhood that you had? Would you go into that?
Sure.
I mean, I've never met a guy who's been through some more crazy stuff. It's just amazing.
You know what's crazy is I've told you some time back, and you're like, man, that's crazy, and I've told that some of my story, and I just never thought of it as interesting.
It's so interesting.
I never thought it would be a big deal, you know.
It's just
but
amazing, dude. It's amazing.
so I mean, it's crazy. Like a lot of people, because my English is pretty good,
Yeah.
and I really sound a lot like, you know, like I'm from Queens, you know, New York.
Hungarian, right? Like
I'm 100% Hungarian.
Yeah.
My father was 100% Roma Gypsy,
Yeah.
Hungarian, and my mom was not. She was standard Hungarian, not a Gypsy.
Right.
And living in Hungary, they had their lives. Everything's okay. I have a massive family in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
And in the later 80s, prior to the curtain falling
Right.
in Hungary, my parents decided that they were going to have me and my brother experience how it is to grow up in the United States.
Yeah.
The land of opportunity, Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's just,
Amazing.
it's Mecca. I mean, it really, you
Totally.
go, you know, it's a big deal. So at that point in time, you know, you couldn't leave a socialist country or else you'd actually get arrested.
Right.
So what you would do is you would apply for vacation, the government would okay it, and then you would go on vacation for 2 weeks and you'd have to report back, and if you don't, you'd probably go to jail.
Holy shit.
So my parents put in for a vacation to Italy, and then they snuck right into Austria, and then we found political asylum in Austria, so we lived in refugee camps for a couple of years. For a couple of years all throughout Austria. One of the big ones in the hills, we stayed there for almost a year and a half, something like that.
What was it like, man?
Weird, man.
Yeah.
I mean, weird. I mean, it was.
You were just a young boy.
It was young. You'd be surprised what you get used to when you're young. You know what I mean? So, you know, communal living, you live in a room, everyone has a bathroom in one hall or whatever it might be. And that was actually the better place. We lived there for a year and a half. The other places were more, you know, just stacked beds,
Right.
you know, from what I could remember. But we did some sort of schooling in Austria too. I remember I spoke German.
Right.
At the time, Hungarian, then German. And then finally in the middle of the night, the call comes. and then boom, you got your citizenship, and you guys are naturalized to come into the United States.
Awesome. What year was that?
This was 80, 87, 88, 89, or something like that. 88, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went straight to California, to Orange County, because that's where my parents thought would be the greatest, but they couldn't find work. I mean, at all. So we went from Orange County after like 6 months or 5 months, right to between Queens and Brooklyn, right on Myrtle and Onderdonk, you know, into the pit of hell. Like if you actually look at Dante's Inferno is smack dab in the middle of Queens and Brooklyn. It's garbage, man.
And you were in what? How old were you then?
I think I was like second grade, third grade, or something like that.
Man, you had to get tough quick, didn't you?
Dude, I mean, I'll tell you, man, it was crazy. I remember back then, like, I remember it was so awful. But I remember my dad took me to school the first day, and we were going to school the first day, and it looked like he was dropping me off at like fucking Attica, like prison. It was like barbed wire fences everywhere, and then my dad dropped me off, and I looked up at my pop, and he actually had tears in his eyes, man.
God.
And I was like, damn. And me, I just little kid. Going in there doing my thing. Well, you know, you I know. So you do that, you know, you grow up quick, you know, and
Dude, man, you guys remember the episode where a lot of his friends from Queens, we were at that around the fire.
Yeah. That was awesome, man. We had a good time. Those are my brothers.
Those are your brothers, man.
Yeah, those are my brothers, man. We grew up
Thank
together.
God for those cats, man.
Oh man, we're a crew, you know, and we were a crew for a long time, and those guys are, you know, crazy bunch, you know. But but I love them. I love them more than anything in the world, and those are real friends. Those are old friends and real friends.
Yes,
you know, and
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing.
So how old were you when you became a boxer?
So here's the thing about boxer or boxing.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. That's the thing. I don't want to claim anything like that.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because I remember I was doing all sorts of martial arts and stuff, and I don't know. I was doing all right. And then when I got into boxing, I got into the grooves of boxing immediately.
Right.
Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn that's grooms. That's
Right.
the grooms of boxing.
Right.
I mean, Ali, you name the people, and everyone is Gleason's.
Right.
So I knew some people, and my wife did, and I got in, and immediately I got in with a trainer,
Right.
Tony Pellegrino. He was so good, and everyone kept telling me, he goes, son, you're doing this for fun. You're too old. I'm like, yeah, but I'm only like 21 years old, man. I was 20, 21, and they were like, yeah, you're too old.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, well, I'll show you, you know. So I did pretty good, and then I got another trainer, Dominic Monaco, and I went back and forth between the two trainers, and I took it seriously. That's the only time that I didn't take a break from repairing guitars because I boxed at night.
Right.
My thing was an Oscar De La Hoya thing where he said, you don't train in the morning because you fight at night, so you train at night not to get messed up when you're moving around.
Right.
It's a timing thing.
Right.
And I said, oh man, that's a great idea. You don't want to train in the morning and get all thrown when you're fighting at night. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense, man.
yeah. So
I never thought about that.
So I trained at nights, and in the mornings or during the day, I would fix guitars. Which at 19, I was already making a dynamite living fixing guitars,
Right.
and I was boxing as much as I can at nights. Well, I did that for a couple of years, and here's where some of the cool things come.
Yeah.
Like, cause I did that for a couple of years, and I fought this kid at an amateur fight, and this kid named Greg, and he beat the living daylights out of me, man. He didn't knock me down, but he beat me hard, man. Well, the problem was I was getting cocky, and in the amateurs, you don't get weighed. So I fought as a perfect 154. I weighed in, 165, because I wanted to fight bigger guys.
Right.
So I would lie 10 pounds up, and the closest guy they had was like 170. So 170 versus 154. They almost stopped the fight because he was visibly so much bigger than I was.
Right.
And I said, no, I got this guy. I told Tony, I'm like, dude, give it one round, go get pizza. We're all right. Well, he whooped me for 3 rounds, just beat the daylights out of me. But after that, it was a really emotional experience. Tony told me, my trainer, he said, son, he said, if I stay with you, I'm going to get you hurt. So I'm going to give you to Hector Roca. Hector Roca at the time was the #1 trainer in the world.
Wow.
#1 boxing trainer in the world. This was going back 2000, 4, 3, something like that. Number one, Panamanian trainer.
Damn.
So when I stepped in there and I was training with Hector, I think it was day number 1 that Hilary Swank started training with him for $1 Million Baby, that boxing movie.
Crazy.
So I remember I worked with her a little bit, and she was doing the skipping rope scene for that movie for a million years.
Right.
And a lot of respect to her, man. She works so hard and she really paid her dues.
That's
In a
awesome.
place like Gleason's, you got to pay your dues. If you're an actor, whatever you might be, they'll take you to school. They're gonna say, "Actor, here, check this out.
Right.
This isn't acting," you know.
Right.
And that's Gleason's. I mean,
Right.
that's what's up. So then I went and I had some fights and so on and so forth. But for my boxing career, I remember, this is how I'll sum that up. My wife told me, I told her, I think I can get a job at Groons. This is in Queens. And I said, the only thing that's keeping us from moving to Nashville is I got to stop boxing. And then she asked me, she goes, you think you could be the welterweight champion of the world? And I said, no. So she goes, then we got to move because you're not serious about this.
Right.
And I was just like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it. I thought it was crazy. But then the reality behind all of it is that it was one of those dreams that
Right.
were never gonna happen, bro. It's like one of those guitar player
Good
dudes.
as you are fixing fucking guitars, you could have them.
But that's the thing. The best I got in boxing was like a chess player.
Right.
You're like 1,000 rated chess player. You can go up to any house party and beat everyone there.
Right.
If you play guitar and you're mediocre,
Right.
you show up to any house party and you're the guitar dude.
Right. Right.
You show up in a setting with dudes, you're nobody.
Right.
1,000 rating in chess, you're not playing a bunch of drunk guys at barbecue.
No.
You're playing real people.
Yeah.
That's the way I was able to box. So like, I was probably the best boxer at a house party,
Right. Right.
but taking that to the professional setting, no. I moved around with professionals.
Yeah.
It literally, the peak of my boxing career, a professional boxer top 10 would have beat me up as if I would be a kindergartner.
Right.
And that's a fact. And I would never put myself over anything above that.
I wouldn't want to fight you.
Hey, I got MS now, bro. I don't know. You'd probably take me out, dude.
I doubt it, bro. I fucking doubt it, man.
But that's that.
Dude, fucking A, man. That's amazing.
Crazy stuff.
Shit. Okay, so, what else, man? What else? There was something else.
Well, it's been shit. I mean, it's been shit. I've been here at Groons for 18 years.
18.
I think I've this is another thing that we were talking about. Hey, fuck, I'm gonna tell this story.
Yeah.
I think I've known you for probably 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right, man?
That sounds right.
That sounds right. And I remember when we first met, I'll never forget this. I told people before, and I don't know which sales guy came up to me and they said, I was repairing guitars, and they said, hey, we got Tom Bukovac downstairs. I'm like, oh shit, cool. No, what are you kidding? It was like, no way. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. And he's like, well, he's got one of his basses here. He goes, you mind tweaking it out for him? And I was like, here's my chance. I'm gonna show this guy. I'm gonna show this guy what I got.
Yeah.
It was like a P bass or something, 60s. And then I think it was Andrew Petroff. And then he said to me, he goes, would you mind dropping this thing off at the studio for him? You don't have to, I'll do it. But I said, no, what are you kidding me? Tell me where it is. I'll be happy to drop it off. Let me bang it out for him. And I remember I was working on this bass and it needed fretwork. So I did it, but really needed a fret job.
Right.
But I did everything I could to make it like this. And then I remember I had it going and I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna give this back to this guy and this is gonna represent my work.
Right.
It's good, but it's not there, you know?
Right. It needed a full fret job.
needed a
I
fret
probably
job.
said don't do that, right? Is that
You didn't say
right?
anything. You
Yeah,
just said I
okay,
wanted
right.
it as soon as possible for this session.
Okay.
And I remember I was all stressing about it. I went in and you were doing it. I gave it to you and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, man. Oh yeah, totally usable. Oh yeah, check it out. I'll use it right now.
Right.
And you just killed it. And then from there it went to you bring me a guitar every couple of weeks or something.
Right.
And then that turned into quite a bit. I've said it for a long time. You got on my train, or we got on each other's trains, or however you want to, however that goes. But you got on real fast, and you kept me busy for a long time before others kind of came in like that.
Dude.
And I've told you before, man, 15 years ago, like you didn't know. You didn't know this. Tom's also the cat. Like a lot of people don't realize this. I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. I'm saying it. This is what kind of beautiful person Tom is, man.
Oh God.
This is what
I'm
this is
leaving
going
now.
on. Get out of here. This is 15 plus years.
Yeah,
This
right.
guy has never ever paid me what I asked him to pay me on a job ever.
Or not even close to what you asked, like way less.
It's might as well not even say anything because he's gonna go so much more over the top.
Oh man.
And he's always done this. And I remember telling you years later, like especially in the beginning when I was banging hard, bro, banging hard. I told you probably bought, you know, most of my groceries at the house for like 6 months to a year when I had a 1-year-old. I remember I was like bookie guitars. Thank you. What are you kidding? And as we're going to town, it was such a beautiful thing. And then I don't know, like working at Groons is a big deal, but I think as many people as I connected with artists and celebrities and stuff through Groons, it's 50-50 to all the relationships I met through you. And this is Groons, man.
Totally.
So Groons is, you know, it's so big, but on a like, folks through Groons is professional, it's business.
Right. That's right.
Folks through you, it's business, and there's a lot going on, but it's really done in like a dude way, with integrity, and it's old school. You know, it's old school.
One of the things I always remember you saying that I totally get, and I always understand this, is like, it's like, you know, as a player, you know, how do you get gratification, right? Like as a player, like you play on a cool track, or you play a cool show, or something like that, and people come up to you and go, "Man, that was awesome," right? You know, or you play on a cool record or something. I was looking at him putting the exact same amount of amazing, you know, craftsmanship and years of experience in what he's doing. I was thinking, how does he get, you know, what'd you say?
Satisfaction.
Yeah, like, and like he always said, you know, like it's not a very gratifying thing when you bust your balls working on some guitar to hand it back to some dude that can't even play it, right? Which like I get that. I would rather get torn to shreds by some bad motherfucker who was saying, you know, than to have everybody just love whatever you do because they couldn't play it anyway.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Totally.
I mean, that's. You want care to expound on that any further?
Well, totally, man. It's one of those things. Like, I mean, respect. Everyone wants to show respect and thank and so on and so forth. And I think that's great. But it's like if you make a meal for a person without taste buds, the compliment from them can't be taken that seriously. You know what I mean? So if 150 people tell me I'm awesome, that's great. If one dude who's playing I respect tells me this feels better than it ever felt before, dude, that says something. So the compliments I take from certain people, that's why one of the things that
hard-won compliments. That's the thing.
Repair guys usually hate people that are hard to please. Yeah. And because they rather take the heirloom instruments of people that have no idea. Right. Like, I inherited this from my grandfather. I have no idea what it is. Right. A lot of repair guys love that because you won't know the difference. Right. If it's a playability related thing, you need to be a great player to know the difference. Right. So when people tell me, oh, that guy is super hard to please, no, he's not. Come on. He just hasn't been talked to, or he hasn't been really, or maybe he's just had some garbage work delivered to him and he doesn't know what he likes. Either way, let me talk to this person. Right. So every time, like, you would have hooked me up with all these heavy ass cats, the heaviest cats, period. Right. It's perfect. Thank you. That's it.
That's it. Because you know what the fuck you're doing. Which is a big deal, man.
You know,
it's a big deal.
It helps. I don't know, man. Plus, I enjoy it. I love it. The people are cool and all that stuff. Plus, the other thing, like 10 years ago, I made a rule not to work for people I didn't like. Right. That was a big one. Not a lot of people can do that.
Except me. I'm the one exception.
Remember my 3 rules? My 3 rules was this. I always told Tom, you would ask me for years, do you mind if I share your number with this guy? I'm like, you kidding? Of course, bro. Yeah. And I said 3 rules. They got to be players. Yeah. They got to be cool. Yeah. And they can't be cheap. Right. That's it. The 3. You got to be cool. They got to be players, and they can't be cheap. That's right. There's nothing worse than. And plus, my prices aren't crazy. No. I don't charge anywhere near what I can charge. No, exactly. I just don't care to do that. I can get $1,500 for a fret job from. Right. Or I can dudes $500. Right. You know, I don't for dudes. I'd rather do that anyway. Right. But.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just enjoying one of your fret jobs the other night when I was playing that old 58 burst.
Oh, dude, that was dude. You know what's
that
crazy?
Guitar, man.
I watched that video of yours, and I watched that video of yours, and I don't know why, but a week prior to that, I didn't read that article that you were in Vintage Guitar. Vintage Guitar with your album coming out with Delano.
Yeah.
And I didn't read that article.
Yeah.
And I skimmed through it, and I don't know how I came about it, but I started reading it, listening to the album pretty good too.
Oh,
and I'm reading it, and then you drop my name on that verse,
yeah, dude.
Michelangelo of Fretwork or something like that.
Dude.
Such a beautiful thing, man. I love it.
Yeah. I regret this ever selling any of the guitars I've sold that you've refretted, because I've done, you guys know I go through a lot of guitars, and oh man, it's just such a, I should buy all the guitars back that you refretted for
That's
me.
funny, man. Well, the other thing though, a lot of folks don't know is that I retired, and and I'm not saying that I'm going to stay retired.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's really frustrating. Like, I actually retired from working on guitars at 40.
Yeah.
I'm 41.
Freaking amazing.
When I say retired, is I'll still do setups and
Right.
bullshit fret work, or we're making nuts. I don't care about that. I'm talking real work, neck resets, real work. I can't do that anymore. My hand isn't quite cooperating as well as it once was. I can still do some videos, because the videos I can do. I can schedule around my hand working, like with Premier Guitar and whatnot.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm not doing that anymore, which is all right. My guys are dynamite at Grooms here, my shop guys.
You
And
got
they're
them
really
all
good.
whipped into shape.
Oh, they're great. They're so good, man. And I always tell my guys at Grooms, we have this dynamite reputation to uphold, and I tell them all the time. I said there's a difference between a guitar shop setup and what you would give to a player.
That's right.
And there's a big difference, man. And you have to know what that difference is, and it's a big deal. And I've noticed that's what I try to train, because it's not really that subjective.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like my action or my whatever might be subjective. Well, here's what I say, man. If you think that's bad to the bone and it feels great, it's not really subjective, because if you give that guitar to 10 players that are killer, they'd say the same thing. So it's not subjective.
Right. A lot of people on my show have asked because they may be intermediate players or something, and they want to learn how to set up their guitar, and they've asked me a lot of questions about how to set up guitars and how I set up my guitars. And I'm not a technical guy, like I don't even own one of those little fucking rulers that you stick in there. I just know what I like to feel, right? So I can adjust necks and set intonation and things like that, but like you would be better, like if you guys have made it this far in this video, which I hope you have, you could answer definitively what I actually like in a setup.
Yeah, so well, it would be cool too, because like I can give you the numbers and the math and the geometry behind what that feel is.
Wow.
Like, man, I really dig this. Well, what you're digging there is X amount of relief with this action, with this neck and this fret wire. And if you want to recreate the same feel on this guitar, because the neck dimensions are different and the fret wire is different, the action's going to be about a 64th different, but you won't feel the difference, because when you take everything in, it feels a certain way.
Wow.
That's why I like dudes that tell me things like, oh, when I'm doing this, I feel this, and when I come down, the action gets taller or whatever. All that tells me is exactly what's happening and why.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, this is probably your problem here, and then a little adjustment there will solve that. Little things like that, but I love that stuff. And,
we could do a whole video on that. We could go through a full-on...
oh, totally. Totally. I always say this too, like setups, fretwork, bread and butter, nut saddles, even neck resets. It's bread and butter at this point. It's not a magic trick.
Yeah.
40 years ago, you did a neck reset, it was named magic trick.
Right.
Now, I expect that to be done perfectly.
Right.
Clean, with no issues.
Right.
And you get a fist bump. Or maybe not even, because you're supposed to. What do you want to do? Nice.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's amazing.
So all of these things I kind of expect.
You get a fist bump, maybe. Amazing.
This is Grooms.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like, you're doing a session.
Yeah,
You're doing a session with a heavy ass dude. Sometimes a look and a wink is enough. It's
if you guys got, you know, any ideas out there, because these guys are creative people, all these homeschoolers, they come up with great ideas. Anybody has any ideas about like what you would like to see for the groom videos that we do?
Yeah, man.
Please, you know, throw them out there. Some of my best ideas come from these guys, like the guy that came up with the idea to give away that guitar with the postcards. You know?
Oh, that's awesome, man.
You know,
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, so I would have never thought of that. So Top Loader, I remember he said that. But if anybody's got any cool ideas about like what you'd like to see on these like monthly groom videos, I honestly, why we won't be able to do these, man. I think I'm gonna have time to do them, and it'll be cool.
Oh, it's
I think
easy.
It's gonna be great.
It's easy. We gotta have
And
coffee.
So, yeah,
Rolling Rock.
We'll have beers, coffee, and cool guitars, and like we'll get some hot chicks, dude. You want to?
I thought you were gonna say hot chicken sandwiches from Hattie B's over there. Hot chicks. We talking hot chicks?
No, we'll get some hot chicks in there, you know, like they do in the boxing ring where they carry the
Just in the back. You know what we should do? How do you do giveaways? Like can I take like 10 bags and just send them to your dudes? Like
Totally.
like the first 10 dudes that put up their addresses or give them to you or something. How do you want to do? Or you just want to give me 10 dudes that of addresses and I'll send it to them?
Let's do something really fun.
I don't care.
Let's
Whatever.
do something really fun. All I have to do is think of a trivia thing that you can't Google. If I could think of a trivia thing that you can't Google,
Well, how many people are gonna get it though?
whoever gets it gets that fucking coffee.
All right, I'll tell you this. You think a lot of your army there, some of them might be Pantera fans, or it's just slightly different?
I think it's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. Okay, Pantera. Here we go.
You can't Google this, right?
You can't. No, you can't. But I know it for a fact from the horse's mouth.
All right.
So Pantera, their big thing is Cowboys from Hell, CFH, right? The CFH Cowboys from Hell, the Cowboys from Hell tattoo, right? Is a big deal.
Right.
Is a big deal. That kind of says a lot of things. And there was the story goes is that Dime actually drew CFH, Dimebag. The first person that got it tattooed in the band. That's the question. Who's the first person in Pantera that got Cowboys from Hell, CFH tattooed on them?
All right.
There's only 4 people.
Yeah. So
Somebody's bound to get it, man.
Yeah.
First 10. First 10 gets it.
First 10 people
First 10.
get the right answer.
First 10 gets it, yeah.
And we won't say what the right answer is.
That's right.
You sure you can't Google that?
Yeah, positive.
Probably. Okay, good. We'll say, there you go. If you made it this far in this video, you got the fucking answer to that question, you get some free fucking badass coffee.
Badass coffee, man.
Hell yeah. All right. What else, Greggy?
Shit, man. We got the bass. We got the coffee. What are you doing? What are you doing next?
I got, you know, I'm doing this crazy Twitch thing tonight. I'm going to my friend Dorian Crozier's house. We're going to do a live stream session.
Oh, on Twitch?
Yeah.
Is that it? Cool.
It's going to be rad.
Oh,
So
that's
you guys want, if you guys want, I already told the kids about that, and they put up a link for that.
Oh, very cool. Man.
So it'll be fun. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Guthrie's going to come jam a little bit.
Dude, I'm doing his video too.
Are you?
I'm doing Guthrie's. I'm gonna get on, I think, Corey Congilio's.
Perfect.
And then I do Steve Krenz's live lesson from the house here next Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays from now.
Yes.
And some other couple of things,
Awesome.
man. But this is awesome, man. We'll have some dynamite guitars going for when we do this.
I'll come in and, you know, hours before the video shoots, and then I'll play all the shit you guys got, and I'll pick out all the baddest shit, and like, you know, we'll get it. It's like we'll have 3 or 4 guitars every video, where like this is a good guitar. You know,
Oh, dude.
it'll be killer.
I'll play rhythm.
It'll be great.
No, I won't.
It'll be great.
I'll play rhythm.
I love it.
No, I won't.
All right, homeschoolers.
Thank you guys very much.
Awesome. Thank you.